thrust pedals are dead. Again. I didn't really want to talk about it, but there's something interesting that happened because of it. And it's not any interest in the actual pedal. It's an interest in the concept of nostalgia within guitar. Because pedals don't have it. Guitar stuff can be broken down into your three main food groups of components. Your guitar, your pedals, and your amplifier. Two of those are necessary. Pedals you can sort of deal without. Actually, nowadays, you can get away without an amplifier even. Modeling still amplifiers. What's interesting is, with guitar and amps, notably, there is this fundamental of nostalgia for the things, whether that be because your favorite musician used them, or whether it just be you don't like something new. I mean, Fender's best amps are reissues. That's their bread and butter. Not just their amps, but their guitars as well. Reissues, predominantly, whether that be custom shop or whatever. Vintage, whatever it's called. American vintage. That's the bitch. Gibson, oh my god. Gibson is nothing but nostalgia. Even them bringing their amps back. Which I have a real one, an old one from '57. And I've played the new one, and it's fine. There is this fundamental nostalgia that Gibson amps came back. Magnetone amps came back. Supro amps came back. Teisco came back. That's all in amps and guitars. But when a pedal brand comes back, when it comes to pedals, circuits keep getting revised and keep getting updated and keep being the thing. See any of the videos I've done on histories of pedals and stuff. My most recent one on the color driver and how that's really fucking old. But it's got a shiny new coat of paint. A different brand, a different box, a different look, and it just works in terms of marketing, in terms of sales, in terms of hype, in terms of excitement. Pedals don't have nostalgia. So why does anything else? I'm a pretty, I'd say, conservative in terms of aesthetic when it comes to guitars and guitar brands. Mostly because, and this is just my opinion, the fundamental function of an electric guitar, to my mind, sort of pigeonholes or forces it in such a way that I don't think it's easy to be aesthetically pleasing. This is a thin line telly, parts caster, you'll notice, no name, it's MJT, MJT. This, when it came out, was called a toilet seat, this shape. And yet, it's one of the top 2 or 3 most beloved and recognizable shapes of a guitar. And that comes down mostly to familiarity. But for the most part, guitars are ugly. Even the good-looking ones are a toilet seat. Amplifiers are just boxes with a bit of vinyl and some other random fabrics on it. There's a thing that people just go and they say things like, only a Gibson's a Gibson. I only want a Fender. I only play Fender or Marshall or whatever. Meanwhile, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of brands who make stuff in that image, whether that be directly like it was with the lawsuit guitars of Japan in the 70s, or whether that be the more modern stuff where it's 25% legally distinct, just enough to get by. And yet people still want the brand thing. But when it comes to pedals, nobody gives a shit. There are dozens of brilliant boutique builders whose best-selling stuff, majority of their stuff, is just a Boss pedal you can buy now. How many Tube Screamer clones are there? With pedals, it doesn't matter if it's still being made today or if it was made in the past. As long as something akin to it exists, people like it. People use it. So even I, a schmuck, I have vintage guitars. There's a guitar from the 80s there's a guitar from the 30s there. They're not really functional, but I have them because of sentimentality. The stuff I actually use isn't particularly old. I have vintage amplifiers. That's from 57. There's a projector amp over here from, I believe, 55. But pedals-wise, well, the color driver is based on an old power booster, but it's brand new. The La Machine is based on a Fox Tone machine, and that's brandish new. Golden Fleece, Fuzzy Nuts, Epoch Boost, an old Echoplex. Even the choice of delays and stuff are Oil Can and Binson Echo Rec and Echoplex and Space Echo stuff. It's all old stuff, old circuitry. It's all old fundamentals, but none of it's actually old. The only old pedal I have is this Boss High Band Flanger HF2. This is about as old as I am. It's from the mid-80s. Japan, green label thing. That matters to someone, I'm sure. I like this. Most people don't like it at all because BF2 exists and it's a fatter, fuller, better flanger. This is high and tinny, which is what I wanted out of my flanger. But this pedal, I could easily throw off the board if I needed space or if I found a better flanger, which there's a couple out there that could easily challenge that. So what am I getting at here? I think we need to, just as a guitar community, sort of reckon with the why. Why pedals have no nostalgia. Why there's brand loyalty due to heritage. And how that, hopefully, for me, hopefully that will fade. There's tons of players out there who go, oh, I want a Les Paul, and they go buy a PRS or a Panucci. There's people who want a Tele and they'll go get a Hanson or a Telecaster or a Castadosa, for Christ's sake, a Novo. There's a willingness now to eschew the history of it, but not with malice. We're eschewing the history of it without it being malicious. And I think that's fundamentally why the brand loyalty, if there is any within pedals, has nothing to do with the old guard, has nothing to do with the histrionics? I don't think that's the right word. The history, the heritage, it has nothing to do with that. There's no rose tint on pedals. There's a few people who do that, but they're also making brand new stuff that doesn't look like it, that intentionally is them. The personality of the builder comes through with pedals more. I'm a big fan of Mythos. I only have one of their pedals. All of their stuff sounds great. Most of it doesn't appeal to me. And yet I'm still a big fan of that brand because of the people behind it. JHS, nothing of theirs has appealed to me, including the sort of humor of their show. But they are massive brand and massively influential and extremely personable. That's where pedal brands have to be. And I think soon that's where amplifiers, if there are any, and guitar, they're not going to be able to rely coasting on heritage. Sure, that works.